There you are.
There we are.
Don't I look so angelic with this light behind me?
You look angelic, and my hair looks stunning, if I do say so myself.
I mean, it's hashtag work from home, WFH.
Hashtag I woke up like this, obviously.
So I'm going to clearly edit out this beginning part of our silly banter because I'm a film editor now. So no
Thank
problem.
you, Scorsese.
Yeah, just call me Scorsese, the female version. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
2, 1. Hello, everyone, and hello, Anne-Marie. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Sheltering in place, my friend?
Sheltering in place, here locked away from my family with only the dog to keep me company. So I think all my parents that are watching can totally relate to this. How are you sheltering in place?
I'm doing well. I mean, we're still working. We're doing our thing. So, we're just doing it far, far away from one another.
Which makes me so sad. So I want to talk to you today about something that comes up a lot when we do trainings and we're doing webinars, which we have several upcoming. All of our people who are watching, please check out our website and check out our social media channels for more information on that. But people will say, like, this is great, but how do I get into these stories and how do I access stories? And one of the things that you taught me very early on when we started working together, because I too had this problem, I was great at telling other people's stories and could identify immediately what great stories were for others, for companies, for individuals, but I struggled mightily with doing it for myself, was you told me, you probably remember this, think about a person or an experience that changed you. And that has really changed how I work with companies and individuals now. I think that's always a great way to get in. So I want to talk to you about that. But before you give me your thoughts on that, I do want to stress that this can be a positive or negative experience, right? Like we can be, when we talk about people who have changed us or moments that have changed us, they're not necessarily positive. They can also have other connotations. So talk to me a little bit about that.
For sure. So I think that we often think of somebody inspirational, somebody who was a mentor, who saw us, who believed in us. And also there are people who are bullies, who diminished us in some ways, who challenged us. Those people also shape your leadership. They shape your voice. They shape how you see the world and how you proceed. So I think that sort of mining all of those stories are equally relevant. And what I tell people is there are two things that I look at for me, that gets me to sort of accelerate my ability to look at story. And one are people who impacted me in a positive, negative way over the course of my life. And I would also say, don't limit to just your jobs. Think about when you were a child. Think about when you were in school. All of those people collectively, their stories shaped your worldview. And then I also think about people who were jackasses to me, people who were bullies to me. Those two shaped who I am deeply. There's no question in my mind that, my first grade teacher, Mrs. Scott, who thought that I was special, had an impact on me, but so did the girls who sort of beat the living shit out of me when I was 6 years old. There's no question that those girls' impact on me was equal to that of Mrs. Scott.
Right. I just had the most random thought when you were saying that. I read this interview with Shakira like many years ago, and I love Shakira. And, she has a very distinctive voice. And she talks about how there was a voice teacher when she was at a pretty formative age, like probably 11, 12, very impressionable, who told her that she should totally abandon her dream of becoming a professional singer because she sounded like a goat or something like that, like some, like a farm animal. And she talked in this interview about how devastating that was, but how it also was sort of this galvanizing moment for her. And I think, we often have a tendency to minimize or repress those negative experiences. And while it can be painful to revisit them, I think there's also a lot of potential for growth in terms of shaping your own narrative, right? And remembering like, oh yeah, these things happened to me. And also they made me fiercer, smarter, more curious, more loyal, whatever. So how do you suggest people actually go about the process of memorializing this kind of thing? Because I think, you know, people will say like, oh, that's great. Like, I'll think about it. Like, should people be writing this stuff down? Like, what do you recommend?
So the first thing I would do is I would write a little list of people that have had some influence on your life. Go back as far as you want and be as expansive as you humanly can. Teachers, coaches, neighbors, strangers. Strangers have had huge impacts. Conversations I've had with people I did not know have certainly had an impact on my life. It's not always somebody you had a long-term relationship with. It could be transactional. So the librarian at your, you know, at your school or at your public library. So first, just make sort of a list of those people. Once you make a list of those people, think about what did they teach you? In one sentence, even better, a word. What did that person teach me? They taught me about loyalty. They taught me about being strong. They taught me about resilience. They taught me, you know, whatever it is. Write down, and then write a moment that lesson became sort of relevant. What was the moment that they taught you that lesson? Go to that scene in time at that moment. So I'm going to give you an example now so that everybody can kind of see this in real time. I remember when I was, you know, before I went to college, I started out at a California junior college, like lots of poor kids too. And I had previously gone to drama school for a year and was now an English major. And a boy, he was a boy back then, right? Look at me, I sound like an old woman. A guy in my class,
a young man.
Yeah, a guy in my class was taking a theater class, a Shakespeare class. And his partner dropped out. He was doing a scene and he goes, "Hey, Emery, I know you do theater." And he said, "Would you mind doing this for me?" And I said, "Sure, I'll do that for you." So, you know, I did this little piece from Richard III with him. I still remember it. And the professor afterwards came up to me and he said, "Young lady, who are you? And why are you not in the theater department?" And I said, "Oh, I'm an English major." And he said, "And what do we have to do to get you back to the theater?" And I said, "Oh, I think my days of theater are behind me, but thank you, I've chosen another path." And he said, "Well, that is a terrible, terrible shame. And I hope that you do not hide yourself from the world because you are exceptionally gifted." I didn't know that man. I can't tell you his name. I don't remember a thing about it. But I have never forgotten that that guy told me that I had some capacity to speak to people and move people. It never left me. And maybe it had a bigger impact on me than some of my own mentors because he was a complete stranger that had no relationship to me. And he had no connectivity to me. And so what it taught me, there are a couple things it taught me, is one, that people see parts of you that you cannot see yourself. And all of us have the ability to do that for someone else. Every one of us has the ability to impact somebody's story. That guy, I don't know who the hell he is. I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him. And but I have never forgotten how he made me feel. And as somebody who, you know, did not always feel seen, that was really important. Every single leader has the capacity to do that for someone, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a damn thing. And you change someone forever when you see them, forever. So that's just like a small example. Now that moment is the moment in time. So the other way into accessing stories is to think of moments when things would never be the same again. So whatever that means, you have a moment in time. It can be a moment when you get into a car accident. It can be a moment when these are typically, I always also tell people.
A pandemic?
Yeah, a pandemic. But even then, it's usually a moment in a pandemic, right? It's not a pandemic. But the other thing I usually tell people is it's generally not, surprisingly, it's not the day your child was born. The day you got married, I think the day you graduate, I think people think of those as being, that's actually not, those are moments of great celebration and milestones. Great word. They're milestones. Are they necessarily a moment you were transformed? Almost never. Almost never. I mean, of course, becoming a parent, We're gonna
No,
get
I
1,000
you.
comments of like what
Yeah.
a monster I am.
No,
Obviously, you are
also a
forever
parent,
changed.
everyone.
But the truth is, it's not the event; it's the moments in between that happen.
Yeah.
Something happens, so it's a little more nuanced than that.
Yeah. Well, this has all been very informative and also kind of felt like a great therapy session for me. I'm going to go out and virtually inspire someone and see someone today, since I can't actually do it, actually do it one-on-one. But thank you so much. And thanks to all of you for watching these. We love to see that we're getting more subscribers. Tell your friends. Sign up for our newsletter. We're doing a little giveaway. We all are into giveaways right now in this time of COVID when we're sitting home with a lot of time. And so thank you guys so much for watching. And Marie, my friend, shelter in place, soldier on. I will see all of you soon.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
Ciao, ciao.
I appreciate you. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.